this part of the museum, as you can feel, it's a lot colder than it is outside, and the collections are kept at a steady about 17 degrees C and about 40–45% humidity. So they're the ideal conditions for the collections to be kept in, and it discourages things like pests. You get lots of insect pests that will attack museum specimens, and things like mildew as well. So it keeps out stuff like book lice, which will eat the plant collections, and carpet beetles, which particularly go for insect collections. There are 3 sections to this collection store. The first bit we're in at the moment is the British Herbarium. So this is all of our collections of British flowering plants. And there's something like 6,000, the equivalent of 6,000 drawers worth of material in the British Herbarium. In the middle, we've got the section which is some of the synoptic or reference collections for British insects. And at the far end, we've got a large area that's dedicated to Lepidopterus. That's moths and butterflies. We've got lots of British butterflies, and we've got lots of micro moths down there as well. The part of the collection that's particularly relevant to the Angela Marmont Centre is the reference collection, and that's what's available for people to come in and use for their own study. We've got over 1,000 drawers of insects, which represent about 2/3 of the UK species of insects and spiders. The things that we don't have down here are material that are usually kept on slides or in alcohol. This is mostly pinned material, so the dry specimen with the pin through it that you see on the TV and books and stuff. There are things like lice, for example, and fleas and aphids, which are small and soft and are usually kept on slides, and they're still in the rest of the museum. Do you want to come and have a look at some of the insects? So these are all specially designed cabinets that are sealed to keep out pests, and specially designed drawers which are also sealed to keep out pests. Let's see, is there anything interesting? So all of these are British species, and these are chafers. And you'll notice that there's only a few specimens of each species in the drawer. In our main collection there'll be drawers and drawers of common species, but we've arranged it like this so that the material's more accessible and easier to compare, because what we want to do is to encourage people to come into us with their area of interest or their area of specialism, and to use this collection to improve their own knowledge. They want to bring in some of their own specimens that they've collected and compare them to what we've got in our collection to help them identify what they have. And that's really the best way to learn. You can't learn to identify something just by looking in a book. You have to be able to see the specimens, and you have to be able to see them live as well. These are some of the crane flies. Again, these are all UK specimens. And you can see how incredibly sort of intricate the patterns are. And people see these and think they're wasps. They're not, they're just flies, and they don't have stingers. That's just the ovipositor for laying eggs. I have a particular fondness for crane flies, even though when you're looking after them in the museum, the legs fall off. The legs are designed to fall off in life. If something like a bird came and grabbed the crane fly, it would leave its legs behind and fly off, the same way that some lizards shed their tails. Which means that if they're designed to come off in life, when the specimens are dead and brittle, they're even worse. And it's a sort of running joke that you're doing well if your crane fly specimen has 3 legs out of 6. These are interesting. These are robber flies, these big ones. This one at the top is Acilus carboniformis, the hornet robberfly, and it's one of very few number of insects, a very, very few number of flies that has its own biodiversity action plan because it's suffering from habitat loss, and it's something that we're concerning. It's one of the, you call it the more charismatic flies because it's even brighter coloured than that in real life. But all robber flies are very interesting in the way they catch their prey. They catch their prey on the wing and they make short darting flights to grab whatever they're going to eat. And they kill it and they suck all of the juices out of it, and they sort of drop it and they move on to the next thing. It all happens really quickly, and they've been seen to catch things like dragonflies. So they are, you know, the ultimate aerial predator of the sort of bug world.